Hey, what's up, guys? Jason here. The Netflix live action of One Piece is finally out. Everybody's been talking about it, and I got to finally see all the 8 episodes of the series. And I have to say, I think they did it. They actually did it. They finally broke the curse of badly made live action adaptations. They did the impossible. As all of you are aware, Hollywood hasn't had a great history making live actions from video games or anime. And to a major and minor degree with video game adaptations, they are starting to get the hang of it, with The Last of Us being a very good example of that. It's a very successful series. But with anime adaptations, they have the reputation of being beyond garbage. You may remember some abominations like Dragon Ball Evolution, Ghost in the Shell, Death Note, and the most recent example is Cowboy Bebop.
Sounds to me like blackmail.
You're damn right it is, because, Jet, you are black and you are male.
None of these adaptations has been liked by anybody, neither in Japan or in Western countries, or it doesn't matter if you're an anime fan or non-anime fan, nobody liked them. But this time with One Piece, the reception has been very positive, and I'm so glad it turned out this way. Netflix have somehow figured out how to make a good anime adaptation, or rather, make the first live-action adaptation from an anime of a big IP that is overall pleasing for the fans. And one of the reasons is because they have been working closely with the creator of the original manga of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda, who has been giving a lot of insights on the characters and how the show and the plot should be, and that made a lot of the fan base a bit more relief about the result of this live-action adaptation, since he was involved 100% with the project. And as I said before, Netflix didn't have a good trajectory adapting anime. To be fair, I'm not personally the biggest fan of One Piece, but I used to watch a lot of One Piece when I was a kid going through my teenage years. I'm pretty much knowledgeable of the pre-time skip era of One Piece, but decided to drop it because it got a little bit long. Seriously, why does it have to be so long? I have to say that a lot of fans love these adaptations. I've seen lots of reactions on social media giving a lot of positive feedback. In a certain way, the greatest strength of One Piece is that it understands the main characters and develops really well their characters and their narrative arcs. All of them have their moments, all of them have a development, and also focus on telling their backstory. I have to warn you guys that this adaptation condenses various parts of the anime of One Piece. Let's say that it doesn't follow by the book 100% the anime, which it could be a positive thing, since if you're caught up with the anime or the manga, then you're not going to be bored watching the same thing all over again. I think they're trying to get all the villains and all the characters to wrap up all their narrative arcs. One of my favorite moments on this series was when Luffy got his straw hat from Shanks. In the original anime, we get it later on in the series, but in this live-action adaptation, we get to see the whole backstory on Luffy and Shanks' relationship from the first episode, and then it's spread out throughout the whole season. And well, in general, things happen according to the original source material, but with some changes. The story of One Piece has been condensed into few episodes, and each episode has an hour length. There are 8 episodes in total, and a lot of things happen in each episode. This is more of a more personal take, but I think that it was a mistake to release all the episodes at once instead of releasing one episode per week like what HBO did with House of the Dragon. I think it would have been more impactful if the series went releasing one episode per week, so the conversation about this live action could be more longer. Just to have a bit more space to experience each episode, because as I said before, there's a lot of things going on, and if you're trying to watch everything in one sitting, it can feel a little bit too much. Also, if it's your first time watching One Piece, if an episode ends with a cliffhanger, you feel a bit more excited for what's coming next, and you know, it's more fun. Now, let's talk about production. I think it's quite faithful to the anime, and that includes the characters, which I'll talk about them a little bit more later, but the overall world building, it's That's really impressive. Now, where I think there is a problem throughout the whole season are the action sequences. While there's some good action sequences, there are some of them that are not that well executed. The CGI in some instances are very noticeable. There's this scene where Luffy becomes big, he puffs up to deflect a cannonball that's being thrown by Garp, and you can see the CGI. It's like, yep, I can see that, I can see the CGI, and that took me out of the immersion when I was watching this series. It's really obvious that something like One Piece is going to be really difficult to adapt, considering that the anime has a lot of action. Fortunately, the early episodes are, to be fair, more grounded, and it's not later on in the series when things become crazier. You can tell that they're trying to use the least amount of CGI as possible, and if they're trying to use it, they usually want to do it during nighttime or in dark places. And talking about the camera work, it's not always very interesting. Sometimes I feel that it takes away some of the movement's impact and makes it a little bit less interesting. And I think that they'll get better with that in future seasons if they decide to make a second season. But fortunately, if there's something I can say that it's the absolute highlight of One Piece live action adaptation, is the creation of characters. We're gonna start talking about Luffy, who's played by Iñaki Godoy. He totally embodies the character of Luffy. I think he brings perfectly Luffy's spirit of adventure, his energetic personality, his optimism. You take a look at him and say, that's how Luffy would act if he was a real person. Eiichiro Oda himself said he could see Luffy in him, and if the creator of One Piece gave his blessings, there's nothing more to say. Iñaki's a very talented actor with a lot of future. He's clearly passionate about the IP, with an eagerness to go out and do lots of things, and this role gave him the opportunity to show this juvenile energy that made him the perfect cast to be Luffy. Another character that was really well played was Zoro, who's also my personal favorite character of all One Piece. And I think his best moment was when he puts his katana in his mouth to do the three-sword style like in the anime, and I was like, oh shit, oh my god, he's doing the thing! At first I thought that it was going to look really goofy or really ridiculous, but it resulted on looking very convincing. And talking about ridiculousness, this series totally embraces on how self-aware it is on how ridiculous the world of One Piece is. The anime has lots of comedy. There's a lot of characters in the anime or manga that look so over the top and so ridiculous, and that part also translates into the live action. And another character I want to mention that they really nailed it in this live action is the character of Sanji. He's just so fun to watch, he's such a likable character, and unlike the anime where he's constantly simping around women, in this live action, my man has wrist. My boy Sanji has wrist. And I can also say the same thing with the characters of Nami and Usopp, with Emily Rudd and Jacob doing an absolutely great job on playing these characters. They kept the spirit of the characters without being tacky and feel grounded in reality. And to be fair, the real reason I felt so invested with this live action was because the chemistry between all the Straw Hat Pirates. I could listen to them for hours bantering and having fun. You can tell how much fun and love the whole cast was having with these characters. Another character I haven't expected to like that much was Kobe. This shy and sturdy guy who eventually joins the Marines and becomes more courageous and more determined to stand his ground. Also, Garp appears more early on from the first episode, and with Kobe and Helmeppo getting a more extended arc, this feels more like a fresh take on the story instead of doing a one-to-one copy of the source material. Is the live action better than the anime or the manga? If you haven't watched the anime or the manga, this live action could be a great introduction into the world of One Piece. But of course, the anime or manga, because of the expressiveness of their medium, is a much better experience. That and because the live action has made some changes in the story to condense 100 episodes of the original anime into 8 episodes of an hour length, which I totally understand. I do understand because of time constraints, budget, and because how hard it is to adapt something as insane as One Piece into a live action. I still think that the action sequences are not the best, not even in Hollywood, and I understand that this is a series and not a movie where you can throw billions of dollars into a 2-hour length movie. But even without the money, there are camera movements and editing that are not that interesting. And for a live action that is based on an anime or manga that is action focused, if they're making a second season, which I hope they will do it, I hope that they focus on those things that I mentioned. But putting that aside, I think that a lot of the people who are going to watch One Piece, especially if you're a fan, is that this series has a lot of respect to the original material, respect to the characters, and respect to the fans, which I think that's the most important thing when doing a live action adaptation. Anyways guys, that's my little rumble on One Piece live action. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Let's make this channel more bigger. And also you can follow me on social media, links in the description below. And thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Peace.